Elephant Day, the greatest day of the year without exception! Take that, Squirrel Appreciation Day, and Where Your Mothers Were Out of Work Day, and Christmas. Boom! So obviously, to celebrate how amazing elephants are, we're going to talk about some sweet elephant facts today. So here we go. Although most of us grew up learning that there are only two species of elephant, the Asian and the African, recently scientists have discovered that African elephants are actually two separate species, the African bush elephant and the African forest elephant. Elephants are the world's largest extant land animal. The babies alone weigh 250 pounds. Asian elephants are the smaller species and can weigh up to 11,000 pounds, while the two African species can get all the way up to 15,000. The word jumbo that we'd use to describe really big things actually comes from Jumbo the elephant, who traveled with P.T. Barnum's circus during the late 1800s. Because elephants are so big, they can't run, because running would require all four of their feet to be off the ground at the same time. Instead, they can trot very quickly. Elephants are amazing swimmers, and they love the water, not only because it's fun, but also because the buoyancy relieves some of the pressure from their joints. And just like we all hoped was true, elephants do use their trunks as snorkels. The elephant's trunk is actually a combination of its nose and its upper lip. Trunks are incredibly muscular. They have 150,000 muscle fascicles in them, which gives the elephants great strength, but also great control. The trunks are used for super gentle touches like wiping away tears, and also for doing badass things like ripping trees out of the ground. Asian elephants have one finger-like protrusion on the end of their trunk, while African elephants have two. So Asian elephants tend to pick things up by wrapping their trunk around and putting it usually in their mouth, whereas African elephants can use those tiny finger-like protrusions for things as delicate as picking up a grain of rice. One of the other big things elephants are known for is their amazing ears. Their ears are not only used for hearing, which elephants are very good at, but also for thermoregulation. Elephants will shunt blood to the capillaries in their ears and then wave their ears back and forth to cool themselves down. Elephants actually have sphincter-like skeletal muscles around their auditory meatus, which allows them to close their auditory canal. Scientists hypothesize that this helps heighten their ability to sense seismic activity. The nares in elephants' feet are covered in fat, in a structure that's similar to the melons in dolphins' heads, which of course are used for them to amplify sound. The seismic waves from the ground move up through the elephant's feet, through their shoulders and arms, and all the way into their ears. It's also hypothesized that elephants can actually triangulate seismic noise based on which foot detects the waves first. Scientists have actually observed elephants leaning harder into their front feet, presumably to detect more seismic activity. This is really useful because elephants can detect whether other herds are nearby or whether another nearby elephant is feeling aggressive, because aggressive behaviors like mock charging and stomping and running all create a lot of seismic activity. It can also be helpful in cases like during the Boxing Day tsunami in Thailand, where Asian elephants in Thailand actually became agitated before the tsunami and ran to higher ground, thus ultimately saving their own lives and the lives of anybody who happened to be riding an elephant at that time. An elephant's teeth are also incredible. Elephants are called polyphyodonts. They have 6 sets of deciduous teeth throughout their lifetime that are about the size of a foot. The teeth move in from the back and the older ones fall out in the front. When the 6th set of teeth wear out, the elephant will eventually starve to death. The elephant's teeth is one of the things that led scientists to classify them as a penungulate, a group that it occupies with hyraxes and sirenians like manatees and dugongs. Morphological similarities shared among the members of this group include flat, curved nails on the end of their digits, nipples that are almost in their armpits, and tusks that are made of incisors instead of canines like happens in most other animals. The elephant's tusks, though they're super strong and sturdy, are also very sensitive. Elephants will actually facultatively avoid acacia trees that have ants in them because the ants get onto their tusks and hurt the nerve endings there. Ants aren't the only insect that elephants are afraid of. An Oxford study by Lucy King et al. Found that elephants are also afraid of bees, probably because African bees are actually really dangerous. But this finding has led to an initiative where they encourage farmers to keep bees along the perimeters of their crops to keep elephants from raiding them. That way there's no negative human-elephant interactions, and the farmers also get an additional income by harvesting their honey. Science saves the day! Elephants are of course also afraid of humans, but they're actually more afraid of some humans than they are of others. In a study by McComb, Shannon et al., elephants were played 2 audio clips of people speaking distinct languages. One, Kamba, belongs to a group of people who are largely agricultural and do not hunt elephants. The second, Maasai, belongs to a semi-nomadic people who do occasionally hunt elephants. The study found that the elephants were significantly more frightened of the Maasai language than the Kamba. And even within the Maasai language, elephants were significantly more afraid of male speakers who are adults over top of female adult speakers or juvenile males, largely because they have the most negative interactions with adult male speakers of Maasai. That's crazy smart! Of course, elephants have a very legitimate reason to be afraid of humans, as they are being hunted nearly to the point of extinction. It's estimated that almost 100 elephants are poached every single day, and in the past decade, their population has gone down by 62%. The poaching pressure is so great that it's actually causing genetic drift within African elephants. In African elephants, both male and females are born with tusks, but now, increasingly, more and more individuals are being born without any tusks at all. This might seem great, but their tusks are actually there for a reason. They use them for digging for water and digging up roots and plants. So it's actually a very sad kind of thing. Poaching isn't the only negative human-elephant interaction out there. Elephants are also caught to be taken into captivity. It's estimated that 30% of Asian elephants live in captivity today. And this is by no means a new practice. Tons of famous historical figures kept elephants as pets, including Charlemagne, Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, Pope Leo X, and King Henry III. Unfortunately, none of these historical pet owners were all that good at elephant husbandry. In particular, King Henry III's elephant, which he kept at the Tower of London, lived a very short, very drunk life, as its keepers fed it a gallon of wine per day to keep the chill off its bones. Elephants have been kept in captivity for centuries. They were used as war machines by the Emperor Hannibal. They were used as a means of execution in South and Southeast Asia. More commonly, they're used in agriculture. In modern times, captive elephants are typically used in the entertainment and tourism industries. Elephants like Jumbo live out their lives in animal circuses, while in lots of places in Asia, elephants are kept to give elephant rides to tourists. And in 1956, a live elephant was given away as a prize on the game show The Price is Right. But entertainment elephants, just like every other wild animal on the world, can be dangerous. And elephants have been responsible for lots of accidental deaths in the circus, leading to some purposeful deaths of the elephants. In 1903, an elephant named Topsy was executed for killing 3 people, including one man who burnt her trunk with a lit cigar. The method of execution was electrocution, and it was done by Thomas Edison, who was using the demonstration to prove that Tesla's alternating current was too dangerous to use. In 1916, an elephant named Mary was hung from a railroad derrick, the only known case of an elephant being hung, as punishment for her killing her trainer after he struck her ear when she tried to eat a piece of watermelon. Even worse than these sad stories is the fact that elephants today are severely mistreated in captivity. They're often kept chained up, they're yelled at, they're underfed, they're beaten, all to feed the tourism industry. And that's so much more heartbreaking because elephants are incredibly intelligent. The elephant is one of the only animals that can recognize itself in a mirror. They instinctively understand pointing, which they're basically unique in. Not even great apes understand pointing instinctively. They have an incredibly large and convoluted hippocampal region, which is the region associated with memory. So the idea that elephants never forget is actually maybe justified. And while elephants don't actually have graveyards like the kind Simba got in trouble in, they do mourn their dead, and they return year after year to the site of where their bones are to fondle the skeletal remains, even of elephants they'd never met in life. Elephants are incredibly social and gentle with one another. They stand over their babies while they sleep so the babies don't get sunburned. And orphaned elephants have exhibited symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress disorder in humans. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that elephants are just this incredible, intelligent, sweet, wonderful animal that deserves being protected. And so let's do that. The main thing that you can do every day to protect elephants is educate people about the problems facing them. In a recent poll done by the International Fund for Animal Welfare in China, 70% of respondents were unaware that elephant ivory comes from elephants that are dead. Add to that the fact that the recent upswing in fear about trans fats has led to an increase in production of palm oil, but the clearing of forests for palm oil seriously degrades the habitat of Asian elephants that already have very few places to live. And when people are traveling abroad, a lot of them are simply unaware that elephants in captivity are often mistreated. And so the elephant rides and elephant shows and elephant tourist things are probably not something that you want your money to be supporting. So go out there and tell people how it is. And while you're at it, if you can, cut down on the amount of palm oil you eat, and don't buy ivory, and say no to animal circuses and elephant rides and stuff like that. You can, of course, also donate money to some really important and ethical organizations that help support elephants in the world, and I'll leave you the links below. Thank you so much for listening to me tell you about elephants. They're so cool. They're the best. Go imagination hug an elephant, and have a happy rest of your World Elephant Day. Love ya!